Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, God, Robin's so loud. I'm going to turn down.
Alright.
There we go.
Sorry.
That's right. That's
You
me.
actually started the stream.
I have.
Okay.
They should see
On
any
my
second
computer,
now.
it's not started.
But there's going to be like a 30-second delay, isn't there?
Ooh, 30 seconds. It's not going to be that long. Anyway, go on then.
Well,
I'm synced. I don't think Joseph Bingham, when you were here last week, we now are on Discord.
yeah.
So
Robin is synced. Yes, everything. Hopefully, everything's all synced up now, and all our audio and video is. All our woes are behind us now. So, hello, Eris Ferns. Indeed.
well, my feed's just started now.
See?
I can see myself.
I think it's some kind of. I don't know. I think your connection's rubbish, but I think it's because your son's playing as well online, so that's probably not helping.
Okay, yeah, no, that's true. He's playing at Overwatch this evening.
Overwatch, Counter Watch.
You may hear him in the background.
Counter Stonks. I thought we'd be on the other side. I thought I'd got us switched over the right way.
On the other side, yes, your boxes are still.
I'm very confused. I wonder if I can.
As
I wonder if I can. You can't drag people over and move them around the other way, which is quite annoying. I wouldn't know how to do that. But there we go. There we are. We're still here anyway.
If I just move to the left a bit, would that help?
Just keep. Yeah, just move one way, move the other way. How is everybody? How are you, Robin, this week?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Andrew. Look, I've got a different jumper on. Look, just for you.
Ooh.
Oh. Shot myself.
Oh, it wouldn't be an agent's feed without Robin buggering his camera up.
I was going to show Andrew my jumper, and now completely buggered the tripod. Hang on a minute.
Oh, you just knew it was going to happen, didn't you? You knew it was coming.
Sorry?
You knew it was coming.
I should have just left it alone, shouldn't I?
Should have.
Should have just left it alone.
Just like my nan says, leave it alone, it'll drop off.
Yeah.
So, we were just saying before we came on air, it just feels like the last week disappeared even quicker than this week did, than the previous week did. It's just, they just seem to be speeding up. I assume I'm just going to wake up at some point.
Each week it comes around faster and faster and faster, and I don't do any more in the time. In fact, I do less.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going. I mean, at least we have got some hope of some end to this madness now.
But not until May.
No agents meeting till the 17th of May, probably at the earliest.
Boo. Boo, I say. Yeah, I mean, the wife was suggesting to me the other day, she was saying, well, you can meet up with one person outside from this day. Why don't you go and meet Robin outside and play some games? I can't record a game in the garden. We won't have the cameras or the lighting, and the audio will just be horrific.
The audio would be horrific. You wouldn't need the lighting, I guess. Well, if we went at night.
But 9 o'clock at night.
But if we went in the daytime, you wouldn't need the lighting, I guess. But it really wouldn't be worth it.
And it would probably start raining.
Well, would inevitably start raining.
Yep.
Outside painting with the agents.
And of course, the other problem we'd have would be, we just wouldn't have the power supply to run all the cameras and everything.
That's true. Also true. I could probably run a block out of the garage. That wouldn't be at all dangerous.
Just a
my decking
string of daisy chain of power of four gang plugs going across the garden. Then suddenly,
I could just open the back door to the garage and the front door to the garage and suggest it's still outside.
Surely that would be an outside place, right? Surely that.
But as we said, our wives wouldn't let us back in the house if we did that. So, well, mine wouldn't.
We're not doing it to avoid punishment from the government. We're doing it to avoid punishment from the boss.
Yeah.
So we've started. Sorry.
Exactly. He's the boss. Talking of the boss, I've been listening to the Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen podcast today. It's very good. I recommend it if you like either of those people.
It's a very random combination of people, or at least it feels like a very random combination of people. I mean, I know they're both Democrats, but
they're both Democrats. Yeah. Apparently, they struck up a friendship after Bruce had played at the inauguration.
All right. Who do you think was more starstruck? Do you think they just both stood there for ages going, you?
Well, when they first met, Obama wasn't really anybody. He was just,
that's true. Just a senator or whatever.
He was just campaigning, so I guess he was probably more starstruck at that point.
Yeah, true. And afterwards, when they met later on, he's like, bitch, I was president. I was the first black president I was
Also,
the
the cachet of being president has been devalued now as well, hasn't it?
yeah, he was like the last president.
Any old arsehole will be president, whereas
Yeah.
there's only one boss.
Biden's sort of coming afterwards, and the place has just been wrecked. He's just like, well, what's it even matter anymore? The place is just a shithole. In fact, we might
Anyway,
just
politics. In
Yes,
case we've got any people who don't like that sort of thing, down with that sort of thing. Yeah. So, Pete, what was the highlight of your gaming week?
Well, my highlight of last week's gaming was us playing our inaugural our inaugural Patreon TTS game on TTS, obviously, live for our Patreon supporters to watch, which will be coming out on YouTube this Friday.
Okay, so it's coming out on YouTube, so I mustn't give away who won.
Don't give away the ending. Although, frankly, I don't think anyone will be able to guess the ending coming, and it was a fantastic ending. Well, it was fantastic for one of us. The other person's probably a bit sour about it, but there we go. Never mind. The other thing, I really enjoyed playing Crit Def Matt as well. One of our patrons from over in America, who I jumped on. I think it was about 11:30 at night or something. I jumped online to play him. And again, different outcome to that game, but still really enjoyed it. It's just actually getting to play other people. There's that initial sort of panic, and then you suddenly you settle into it again after that. Yeah,
I've had a flurry of activity and then haven't been able to fit any in since. So I played 3 games in about 12 hours, or maybe 24 hours.
Which is almost like a month's worth for us.
I played you, I played Gavin, and I played Matt, Set the Tempo Matt, who's a Grand Clash winner, you know.
That doesn't put the pressure on.
And yeah, it was really fun, really good to play all those guys. And I want to do it more, but then life has intervened. So, but hopefully at the weekend coming, I'll play my remaining 2 games. So we're doing a Vanguard tournament at the Patreon for Patreon supporters. So if you do want to get in on that for the next one, then do consider signing up for Patreon. It looks like we'll be free for probably another month. Because we don't have any, haven't got any option to play games. So consider signing up. You could join in the Patreon competition, and it's a bit of a mixed bag of rules in the sense that we're not playing Championship and we're not quite playing Vanguard.
I think we're playing the best option.
We're playing you can play any faction, but you can only use Chasm cards.
Yeah, and I mean, we've talked about it before. I really actually quite like that format. I think it works quite nicely. It gives you that sort of Shadespire feel in that a game isn't just printing glory. When you build a deck, it's not. I found, I don't know about you, but I found that actually finding 6 surges that I think are half decent is really tough, rather than sitting there and trying to work out which 6 surges I want to take and that I think are easiest to score. It's more a case of which 6 aren't absolute dog shit.
It does currently seem to be the case that finding the non the end phase cards is easier than finding the surge cards.
Yeah,
it seems to be, which is unusual. So I picked my objectives and I kind of, I don't know how you do it, Pete, but I kind of go through Underworlds DB and just kind of throw all the ones in that look possible.
Yeah.
And then see how many I've got left. So I think I had like 14, but I only have 5 surges or something. So I had to go hunting around, and I kept chopping and changing the final surge because there are no passive glories hard to come by.
Yeah,
I'm playing the Despoilers, and yeah, it's an interesting challenge. I think there are some warbands perhaps a little bit easier for than others. I know, obviously, because with Vanguard there are currently no restricted cards. So if you're playing Grimwatch, for example, any restricted cards in the Grimwatch deck you can just take them because you haven't got any competition from anywhere else. So the format that we've chosen is perhaps slightly skewed towards certain warbands, but it's made for some entertaining games. And I think, we did talk about this last week, I think the design space, the designers are operating in for Chasm is more interesting than the previous seasons. So I think that the cards and what you've got to do with them and how much you've got to think about them, about what you're doing, makes the game more interesting. Certainly, there's a distinct lack of push cards or push cards without kind of caveats in the die card. So that really, really makes you have to think about your positioning.
Yeah, and unless you get some faction-specific ones, there's not a lot bouncing around.
No.
And I think the fact that there's no supremacy, there's no conquest, there's no great strength or great speed or any of those kind of things as well really makes you suddenly think, oh crap, no, there is no great fortitude now. There is a great fortitude in there, but it's got that requirement that you've got to get into your opponent's half, so it stops people just sitting back in their own half and turtling up and just whacking loads of +1 wound on their fighters, that kind of thing. So I really like that.
It actually makes, I think, although I'm not sure how many people are playing them, I feel like it makes the worst warbands a bit more relevant because, with the exception of some of the restricted card issue I talked about, people like Magors, I know they're quite strong at the moment anyway, but Magors and any of the Season 1 warbands where two defense dice is quite rare, then cards like Savage Strength and Savage Speed they have no negative side for them.
Yeah.
So that puts them at a slight advantage in that respect.
The problem you do have sometimes is like I've taken Wormspat, so I've got the 2 defense dice when I'm inspired, but I'm not great as a warband, so I still haven't taken like the +2 move or the +1 strength cards because it's like I don't want to drop that +1 defense because that's like their thing. So that really made it tough. And you're saying you throw all the cards in when you're first making your deck, and then you end up with a load of extra objectives and so on, and you're digging through them. I think the first time I went through, I just went in, grabbed a load, just clicked on a bunch of cards from Underworlds DB, and then I scrolled up to the top to see where I was at, and I had like 7 objectives. Sitting there going, oh shit, what am I going to do now?
Yeah, well, the Worms faction cards aren't that great in themselves, are they?
No, they're not fantastic. I mean, the ploys and some of their upgrades aren't bad, but the objectives are stinky. Are very, very, very bad indeed. And they haven't got very many surges either. Surges that you can really impact anyway.
No.
We definitely got
Frogcorn, bless him, has got 8 or something, hasn't he?
Yes, ridiculous amount, and some really nice ones as well. They've got like the play 3 ploys. Oh, how will I ever cope? Mind you, just spoilers have that as well, but they're just spoilers, so they could be let off.
Yeah. One interesting thing it has thrown up, which I don't know whether people are aware of this, and they probably are, but I will mention it because it's come up in discussion a number of times on the Discord, that the 6 surge limit is now hard-coded in the rules. So the Vanguard rules don't specify it, but so a few people have been like, well, can I play more? But actually, we've realised they are actually hard-coded in now, so you can't ever take more than 6 surges.
Yes, and I mentioned that to Jason of Underworlds DB. I think he said that it wasn't mentioned in the specific rules for a Vanguard tournament, but I wonder if that's because, like you say, it's hard coded into the game now. So whether they don't specifically mention that. Yeah.
In the same way as other things aren't in there. You know what I mean? Because they are the rules.
Yeah. Mr. Morph is online. Hello, Mr. Morph, as is the Trooper Wolfman Gaz. Hello, gentlemen. Andrew Marlowe's around as well. Jason Newell, Gavin Scott. Who else have we got online? John Grant Miniatures. I think Anthony Tissenser. Ed Avery. I think I've got everybody. Jim Tyson, hello. Ildefonso Lizor.
So only 6 have given us a thumbs up.
Oh, give us a thumbs up. Give us one of those virtual high fives. Mr.
Smash
Morph,
that like button.
Smash it. Mr. Morph
and
says,
other such things that YouTubers say.
It's your boy. Mr. Morph says that he heard that we're getting a date when we get out of jail. Well, kind of, maybe. Depends on how much we manage to cock this one up. So
yeah. We'll see. We'll see. We're about the position we were in just before the schools went back, and we're just about to send the schools back. So we'll see what happens. But apparently there's some wiggle room, and they are going to be doing more testing. But we'll see.
We'll see. And
we'll
if
see.
we're
hopeful.
If it all goes to plan, then we will be meeting back up in the garage sometime around May.
Yeah, should we book it 17th of May? I think that's the date. We'll go for it. We'll put that in now.
Yeah.
Whatever day. I don't
whatever
even know what day it is. Just book it in the calendar. You could stay for a week, Pete.
I'll book a day's holiday. We'll just friends in there all day recording stuff till we run out of space on the memory cards. That will be the vampires and the lizard men will all be out by then, which will be
Yeah.
interesting.
And the thing ones will be imminent as well, won't they? The next two will be imminent.
The next two, yeah. They will be. We'll be waiting for the release of the Hedkrakka's mob and the whatever the Skellygogs are called. I can't remember what they're called now. The Ossiarch Bone Reapers.
Oh no, the actual skeletons. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think we've got a warband name for them yet. So they're just going to be the Bony Boys, the one that has that great big looking scythe axe thing, which I've got to say, the outline of the model mostly really, really interests me.
It is pretty cool. I reckon it's a Necron. That'd be a surprise.
I'm going to use my Gauss Flare. 20 hexes, 5 hammers, 20 damage.
Yeah.
Has cleave and ensnare. Also, fuck you. Even Mr. Morph has noticed that Robin's voice is in sync with his picture now.
Yeah.
Couldn't have done it without good old Discord. Use Discord,
we're on Discord now. Very exciting.
It's proving a little trickier because you can't capture the video feed directly in Discord, so I have to basically just capture the desktop, which makes it sharing a screen a little trickier. But we'll get there, I think. We're getting there at the moment.
Me, it's just the same.
I've just got more juggling to do.
Yeah. So I'm quite excited about the new warbands, I have to say. Because playing this Vanguard version, I don't know how often we'll play Championship in our weekly meetups, Pete, but we haven't really discussed that, have we? But playing Vanguard means that a new deck of cards actually makes a massive difference to the amount of cards that you can take. Yeah. So in some ways, it makes it even more exciting.
I think I'd rather play more Vanguard, to be honest, because we're not cutting edge relevant meta playing folks ever anyway. So we might as well do our own thing. And Vanguard suits us both quite nicely. It also means we can show off a lot more of the cards that you wouldn't normally necessarily take either. And I just think it works a lot nicer in that respect for both of us.
I mean, that's it, isn't it? The kind of top meta players know what the top meta cards are, so they don't need to see them in action.
Exactly.
And the rest of you, I think nobody watches us for top meta play anyway, do they? So I think we might as well just do what feels right.
If they do, then they're very disappointed on a weekly basis.
Turn up to a tournament and get hammered.
Exactly. But I did everything everything that those two wankers on the YouTube channel did. Oh, well, there's your problem. You see, that's what you've gone wrong right there. I am looking forward to painting more of or at least lying to myself that I'll actually paint more of the models in this season, because from the previous season, I quite liked Morgox and I quite liked the Nurgle. But that was about it. None of the rest really interested me. But this season so far, the vampires really interest me. I'm really interested to see what the Ossiarch Bone Reapers are going to look like. The Chaos Warriors, I'd really love to try and get those painted as well. Kagra's Ravagers, but whether I do or not, I don't know. Wolfgang says, aren't minis meant to be bare plastic? Well, they can be. I mean, you can play with them with bare plastic, and people have won grand clashes with them.
Yeah. Yeah, it was at Bryce a little while ago now, but yeah. Yeah, but I'm actually really enjoying my painting at the moment. It's the one thing that's keeping me sane. I finished a Ravager today. It's very exciting.
Nice. Yeah, that picture's up.
I really, I'm not a big fan of the Orcs, as I've discussed before, but I'm really looking forward to the other models coming out and painting those. But actually, I saw somebody paint, I think somebody posted on the Discord, picture of some purple-skinned Orcs. And I'm quite actually thinking I might do that for mine and see how they look.
Yeah, I mean, those Hedkrakka's Madmob don't interest me in the slightest. But then other people have come on and they've sort of said, "Gonna have to disagree with you. I really like the models," and I think that's one of the great things about this hobby is the fact that you can look at a model and think utter dog shit, and someone else will look at it and go, "That's a sexy model," and you'll both be sitting there going, I don't understand what's wrong with you. That's great / that's rubbish. But either way, it's like, I just love the fact that that's just one of the things you can, and someone can take a model that you don't like and paint it in a way that you look at it and go, you know what, actually, I quite like it like that. I don't like it the way GW's done it, but I like it the way you've done it, and I really like that as well.
The final two Orcs that they revealed, though, are much the better two of the models in the warband. So the first two that they spoiled were I didn't really like, whereas the Shaman and even the other guy, The archer guy are quality.
Yeah, I much prefer the archer guy. Although I noticed the archer guy's bow is a little bit like Olo's bow. It's got similar kind of the spiky bits on it and stuff. Sorry?
It never hits.
Yeah, well, yeah, possibly. I agree with you. I think they did showcase. Well, I didn't mind Wolverine. He was okay. But I think all the models just lack the fact that they're all savage orcs and none of them have got any kind of tattoos on, which is like, what was who thought that was a good idea?
Right. No, I don't like either of them. I don't like Wolverine. And I really don't like the dino pelt guy.
No, he's a bit. The painting on him though is shocking. Craig Sargent asked a question. He said, "Our thoughts on the presence of a lot more same number of fighter warbands in terms of making the role to deploy first actually mean something." I quite like that. I mean, very rarely in the past when we've played Robin, that have we ended up in a position where you win the roll off to pick who goes first, and then you've got to think, oh, actually, do I want to place first and get that extra crit, or do I want to see what my opponent's going to do? At the moment, it feels like it's still an obvious choice that you want to place first, because it still feels like quite often your opponent's going to be everyone's playing for aggro. But I mean, maybe that will change up.
Yeah, I agree. I do like the fact that there seems to be more parity. I don't know whether that's going to make the game more easy to balance going forward. I'm not sure. It's certainly going to make objective play perhaps more. I suppose perhaps it'll make flex play slightly easier in the sense that if you've got a small number of fighter warbands and you think you might be coming against Thorns or Grimwatch, you probably just don't even bother. Whereas if you think you've got much more chance coming up against 4 fighter warbands, then you might put some in. I mean, there's quite a lot of two objectives now, aren't there?
Yeah.
To score glory. So I quite like the fact that they're more equal, and it does definitely make that that choice at the beginning more meaningful. As Pete says, I do tend to feel like you probably will finish setting up first, so that you can get the extra dice, so you get to choose. I think that's probably how I tend to feel. I want to play it anyway. You don't give very much away from placing first normally.
No, true. I was just going to say something about warband sizes and stuff like that, but I can't remember what it was.
It's what you do with it.
In my case, there's not enough of it, and I don't do anything very good with it either.
The Wolfman Gas, these orcs in the club is the worst of them all, so he's in agreement with me there. Anthony says that the archer guy is Orc Hollow. This comment from Craig Sargent, though, is my favourite. And Craig, congratulations on winning one half of the Xenos War Games giveaway.
Oh, yeah.
I've sent your details off to them, so hopefully they'll be in touch and let you know when it's coming. The Orcs look like superheroes: Wolverine, Thor, Hawkeye, and Doctor Strange. Now I want to paint them like that.
Yeah, but kind of surely you want to do one. I don't know. Yeah, that'd be quite cool. Doing a yellow and black. You've got to do classic colours though, yellow and black, sort of Wolverine. Yeah.
I may have to get the Marvel Crisis Protocol figures and then
just proxy them.
Play a game with them like that. I don't actually own any of those, so that'll be an expensive way of doing it. But maybe going forward, I'll do that. That'll be quite fun.
Morph asked about the Sigmarids, the new starter box. Are they new sculpts? They're not new sculpts. I think all of the crossbows and the spooky Reaper things are all previous sculpts that came out. I think they were actually previewed way back before the previous starter box came out, because people saw the crossbow ones with the Griffhound on, and everyone was saying, "Oh, they're on a molded base, so they must be for Underworlds." And then nothing happened from them. We forgot about them because Beastgrave happened and all the rest of it, and also Dreadfang came out. So I think it's all they've been around for a while now. So shall we have a look at the Orc video and see what stuff we get on the cards?
Yep. Okay.
So let's have a quick look, see what we can see. Let me see what I can set up here. So let me just click this. Here we go. Right. So Let's watch the video.
Well, and Into the Glory Hole just turned up. Did you beat Rosa? That's what we need to know. Into the Glory Hole. Did you beat Rosa? Or did Rosa beat you? And where's Rosa? What did you do with it?
Here we go. Here's the orcs. Bring the noise, it says. So here we can see Hedkrakka's card, Gob of Gork. So you can see he's got his staff, which is 2 hexes, 2 swords, 2 damage, which is not bad. I mean, 2 swords is a bit bleh. But he does get +1 damage if the target is adjacent to him, which isn't bad.
No, it's not bad. I'm afraid I can't see the card.
You could get the video up. That's fine.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming slowly. It's arriving. I'm arriving.
I'm arriving. And he also has this primal portent, which I think is their inspiration condition, which basically you can just about make out it says, when you gain the primacy token, choose 1 fighter.
And do something.
And then it basically says this fighter is inspired.
Is that what it says?
Yes,
okay.
It's very, very, very hard to read.
Right.
And now I've got to try and get back to the exact right point.
It's not in gold.
Sorry?
It's interesting because it's not in gold.
Yeah, it's like
gold, isn't it?
Yeah, normally the inspire conditions is meet this criteria, but I guess it's that, and it's not a reaction either. It's just do this when you get that. So I wonder if they'll have something else as well as that. It could be interesting to see. Other than that, there's nothing particularly spectacular you can see on his card. He hits on swirlies uninspired with his spell. It's probably a range 3. You can see it's 1 damage. And he's a level 2 wizard, so there's nothing particularly spectacular there. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Let's crash on and see what else is on this video. I know people have already dug these images out and I've been crap and I haven't been able to get them in time, so sorry.
Rubbish. Down with this sort of thing.
Boo. So then we've got Tooth Dagger next. Tooth Dagger is Wolverine. And he is a hunter. He's got a 3 sword, 2 damage attack, which it's not too bad. But he also has a tireless tracker ability, which is at the start of the first round, choose up to 2 other friendly hunters and push each chosen fighter 1 hex towards an enemy leader. So you get a free push before the game really even starts at the start of the first round.
It's quite interesting, isn't it?
That's quite major, I feel, because that's like a massive... I mean, the way you play some boards together, you can end up quite close to someone off the bat. That might end up enabling you to get 2 people adjacent to an enemy straight away.
Yeah.
It does kind of play into their aggro, though, in that you have to go towards an enemy, so you can't use it to be, and using air quotes here, to be clever. You know, you have to go towards somebody, but I mean that's still quite a handy little.
Interesting though, if they've got any objective-based things, you could set them up behind objectives and then push them onto the objective before the game even starts and score or something straight away.
Yeah, that's true. You could have almost something like what's the objective? You have to stand on 3 objectives at the start of the game. You have to stand on 3 objectives after an activation.
3.
Yeah, I mean you could score that after your first activation, couldn't you?
Be tricky. You'd have to be lucky to get them in the right place, but you could. Yeah, but you definitely. The hidden purpose is only 2, isn't it? So you could definitely aid scoring that, and obviously it's not going to hurt you scoring temporary victory. But yes, it's really powerful in that respect.
He also has a thing called Primal Surge, but I can't quite make that out. It's something to do with after an activation. I don't know if anybody else has keener eyes or has looked more into it than me. But I can't.
Primal, isn't that the same as the other one? The other guy?
No, because the other guy had a different thing. So this is Primal Surge.
Right.
The 26-second mark. If I go back a little bit, I can't remember where the other orc was. Let's have a look.
What's that called?
His is called Primal Portent.
Ah, okay.
So they're different. So let's have a look. After Tooth Dagger, we've got another orc. That orc we don't like. The archer guy I like more. The problem I have, I'm just going to quickly stop this here. The problem I have with the main boss dude is that green bit that's meant to be the head on the top, I keep thinking looks like a snout. So what you can see is the top and the bottom half of the jaws sort of poking through a hole in the mask rather than it actually being a face.
Right.
So it's if you can imagine like the snout of a dog or something stuck through like a big donut. That's all I can see. I love the fact that here as well it says, and their brutal ploys, and the next thing it shows you is a character card. But that's not it's not a ploy. So let's see if I can get. So one of the fighters we don't like, Wallop the Skull, who's another hunter. He's got a big
I can't decide about these names. Part of me loves them and part of me cringes.
Yeah, some of it's a bit really.
On the fence with them.
So
Wallop sounds like a good DJ name.
Wallop the Skull. So he's got a 2 hammer, 2 damage attack, range 1 with his big chomper. Not a big chopper, a big chomper. And it's got the keyword leveler.
Do you think they started off with a big chopper and then realised that they couldn't do that?
But no, we can't do this now, can we? And that has the ability where you get +1 damage if the target has a wounds characteristic of 4 or more.
Interesting.
So
and leveler.
So it's 2 damage, but then it goes up to 3 damage if you hit someone chunkier. And that's quite scary, really.
It's interestingly a new keyword. I wonder whether that will come into the game elsewhere.
Oh, you think there might be other things that have that leveler ability? Yeah, because normally when it's a weapon that has a special ability for that fighter, it just sort of puts the name of the weapon in the sort of the flavor text with the thing that says, if they use their whatever that weapon is or whatever. They don't use it as a keyword like ensnare or cleave or anything like that.
Maybe they have to start a trade union if they use that weapon, or start making left wing sort of folk music. Sorry,
He also has a primal surge of some kind as well, but I can't quite make that one out, and I'm not sure if anybody else has been able to make out what the text is at the bottom there, but it's far too blurry or for my ancient eyes. That's a good point. Morph has pointed out that the line around the weapon box goes through the text of the big chomper.
Oh yeah,
which is a bit rubbish. I'm assuming it's just where they've taken the card and they haven't actually got it sorted. Certainly shit graphic design there. That is definitely true, VJ. There might be other. What in the fuck kind of name is that? Says MacLeod. I think she's in the same school of thought as you, Robin. And then there's one more fighter card coming up here. We can't see really any of their base stats either, so we can't see how many wounds they got, but I'm sure we can make stuff up about that in a moment. And then we've got the Arab boy, who possibly has one of the more interesting sort of abilities on this. So his weapon thing goes through the box as well, the Stinger bow. But he's called Daco Sharp Sticker, which is another atrocious name.
Craig says the primal surge on Wallop just says see Tooth Decker.
Oh, okay. So it must be the same as what Tooth Decker has.
I'm hoping for.
So for Daco Sharp Sticker, he's a hunter. He's got a 3 range, 2 sword, 1 damage attack as well. This also has the keyword of lots of arrows, which is a reaction that after this fighter's activation, if they have no move or charge tokens, you can make an attack action with them and then give them a charge token. So I guess it enables you to sort of stand there, shoot, and then you can do that, shoot, and get a charge token off of it.
Yeah, it's quite good. There's some older archers had to have ploys to do that, didn't they? Or upgrades. Somebody else gets it as a innate ability, I think. Slaying. I can't remember, but it's quite a nice thing to have. I don't know how often you'll be using those. It's only 2 swords.
Yeah, 2 swords is a bit rubbish. I can only assume that once he inspires, maybe it gets a bit better and it's worth doing. But
he's got primal tracker.
He's got some kind of primal tracker thing, which is different to other people's, and I don't know whether that's.
That's not the same as. Sorry, but I keep asking. That's not the same as the other thing. Meant you can move people forward.
No, it's not.
I'm guessing it's not.
So that's
interesting. They've got lots of little rules.
but we haven't seen any stats. So we haven't seen like what their wounds are. I'm assuming, seeing as there's 4 of them, they're going to be like maybe 4 wounds on the leader and 3 wounds on the other guys. Let me just jump back to the regular view again.
MacLeod suggested smack him in the face as a as an orc. That's a good name. Bash his noggin.
It's no worse than any of the others.
Yeah, no. I think the really good Black Library writers get to make these names.
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah. You are right. It is Anne Slane. Yeah. She just gets to make another shoot.
Again, if the first attack takes someone out, okay, that's it. Anne Slane, that's right. I knew she had an innate one.
Jason Neal's got a good one. Kick him in the balls.
No, I'm not happy about that. Kick him in the balls.
So I'm just trying to think.
The rest of the silly names for the orcs.
I'm not thinking that we're going to see these guys go to multiple dice on their saves when they inspire. I think they're still going to be sitting on either shields or
which means they can take all the savage upgrades, which I suppose is in keeping.
Yeah, that would be a very good point. Yeah, there wouldn't be any point in giving them those 2 defense dice because you kind of hope they'd be taking lots of the savage stuff. Thrill of the hunt, all that kind of stuff. You're going for offensive, aren't you? You're going for making sure that you can, just because of their abilities, being able to move forwards quickly, that really lends themselves to being an offensive style warband, with maybe a few little tricks up their sleeve, like grabbing that card we talked about that I can't already remember the name of, but hold 2 objectives. Hidden paths. No, not hidden paths.
Yeah, yes, that's true. Yeah, that's Beast Trail. And then Matt's pointed out, well, Craig said about the Primal Surge being perhaps you need the primacy token to inspire them, and then you've got cards like Feign Strength to take it off. It could be, if they've got any shenanigans with the primacy token, then Feign Strength is going to be really important for them.
Now the leader's card does suggest that they do need to, that the only way they inspire is when you gain the primacy token, you pick a fighter to inspire. But you have got those other cards, like you can have Feign Strength and stuff like that. So you can, when you gain the primacy token, you can then give it away or get rid of it and then kill someone else and get it back again. There's also a card that you can take the primacy token, isn't there, straight away? I think.
But it's quite hard, that's relying on cards, which is, you never really want. You don't really want that for your inspired condition if you can avoid it.
But it does give you a way.
In-faction cards to help, but I wouldn't want to be relying on that at the moment to keep getting that primacy token.
As Wolfman Gaz has pointed out, none of them are doing. Well, Wolfman Gaz, there's not a massive amount of damage on any of them, although there is the guy who does 3 damage if you're attacking a 4-wound fighter, and
take one out though, which means you still won't score the primacy token.
That's true. That is very true. And the other one, the Shaman does 3 damage if you're adjacent to somebody, but you don't tend to want to get your leader too close into the action normally. But maybe this guy will do all right because he's a Savage Orc and that's what you want him to be doing.
Yeah, Ravagers versus these guys would be a very fast, bloody affair.
I do find it interesting that even the Savage Orcs caster has a ranged attack. And Grashrak Fellhoof is one of the few, and what's her face from the Godsworn Hunt. Both casters, neither of them have a ranged spell attack action. No,
and neither of them ever get used as wizards. No. Almost never.
Very rarely.
Grashrak, I think I've seen marginally more than Thedra.
Yep, and that might be just because I did it once for fun.
Oh yeah, and I feel like somebody may have cast a spell when I went to the Grand Clash and played them 3 times.
Not that you're bitter about that.
No, I don't. So have I ever mentioned that?
It's even worse by the fact that I took the spoilers, which meant you ended up playing them in an inordinate amount in the practice games and stuff.
And I still lost.
Well, I guess it doesn't help when the person you're practicing with was absolutely shit with them.
They all play. What's really interesting is they all play. I've talked about this before, but they all played them in different ways, which is really quite nice, actually.
You discovered multiple different ways to get absolutely pantsed.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is nice. You're like, oh, this is a much different way of getting annihilated versus the last person who beat the shit out of me.
Yep, I can't wait for tournament season to start up again.
I am very much enjoying our games of the TTS games. I'm very much enjoying getting to play, and I've only played like one other person other than yourself. But even the game we played, it was just different because it was a tournament game rather than just one of our normal sort of casual knockabout games. So I definitely enjoyed that more.
I found it more stressful.
There was definitely a sort of an air.
Interesting enough, when I played Matt, who is clearly a lot better at the game than I am, I felt less stressed then because I just thought I'm going to lose this anyway. So I'll just go for it.
You're like, I've got. You're more paying attention to the fact that, oh no, I'm up against Pete. I can actually beat Pete, so I'm going to have to try here because I've got a chance. Whereas against Matt, it's like, I'm going to get annihilated anyway.
Expectation is a lot of it, I think. If you think you might win and then you don't, you're more disappointed when you thought, oh, no, I've got absolutely no chance.
Yeah,
playing Matt really, really late at night after I'd been role playing for 2 hours, so I was probably tired and just thought, oh, sod it. Let's get this game in the bag.
Just kick the shit out of me and get it over and done with.
I don't mean it like that. It's just, I couldn't have time faffing about. I just had to get on with it, otherwise I was going to go to bed at well gone midnight.
Yeah, there is sometimes a bit of that. Like round 1, activation 1. What do you want to do? Pass. I'm going to pass for the next. Going to pass for the next 3 as well after that. Sure you don't want to play anything? No, it's fine. Just I pass. You scored something brilliant. Have 5 glory. Doesn't matter. Here you go. Just right, passing again. People don't like us swapping around, but I can't do anything about it. I can't make it go the right way now. I'm sorry. I don't know why it's doing it.
New normal. You've got to get used to it. Sorry.
This is the new normal. I tried clicking around. I can't find a way in Discord to make it go the other way. There's not a button in Discord that says something along the lines of make it the right way round, you savages. There is no button.
Wolfman Gaz says, and Grimwatch still scores 6 glory, even though they haven't activated. That is what they're like.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't seen some of the scores for some of the other players in the league, but I think some warbands are going to do better than others. But then I picked, a warband.
Back in a bit, VJ. We were about to talk about the new standalone game. Oh,
what?
Yeah, you flicked. I'm definitely going about 5 minutes behind. You flicked on my screen to show a different part of my dining room, which I was confused about.
I see.
Anyway, should we talk about the other bit of the information in that preview at the weekend, the new standalone version, or do you have
version?
more?
Yeah. No, we can talk about that now. So the next one, it's not even got a name. The next one's not even got a name. It's just Warhammer Underworlds. That's it.
Warhammer Underworlds. I've Warhammer Underworlds. 2-player starter.
And I think this has been talked about before and noticed, but the fact that it's got like a boasting point of over 200,000 games sold just made me think, really, is that all? Is that all that's it? That seems like a really small amount.
Not quite a lot to me, but I haven't really done the math. I've just thought that would impress me. I'm easily impressed.
I just kind of figured like it doesn't take. Now there's 4 versions of the game out. A lot of people who play it are going to buy 4 versions of the game. So in actual fact, that's nearer like not even 200,000 players of the game. That's like 75,000 or something like that players. Which doesn't feel like a lot.
Popular opinion, 200,000 sales isn't a number to brag about. Well, I'd be happy if I made something 200,000 sales, but I do take your point. Yeah. I'm not a multi-million pound miniatures company, or am I?
Bum, bum, bum.
It says everything about this set leaves him cold. That must be the ghosties that are doing that, Ed. I think.
I'm not sure about the ghosts. I thought they were meant to be like Skaven. I thought they were like hunched Skaven-y things with the long Skaven-y face, but they're not. They're horses.
Another two four-person warbands. Card design is different. Wonder if they'll be compatible with new mainstream game. Yes, I noticed that, or rather, I say I noticed it. Somebody else noticed it, and I noticed them noticing it, and was going to point it out in the stream.
Oh, the card designs are different.
Card layout, in fact, all the card layout is different.
Oh, like the yeah, you can just about see it. Anybody who's got a picture of it up can just about make out the fact that you can the ploys or the upgrades or whatever they are. They've got a much more defined section of text at the bottom and picture at the top.
Yeah.
I mean, the fire cards don't look too much different.
But they are different. They're not massively different, but they are different. They've got colour on them at the top, for example.
Oh, I think that's because their stats are above the weapon stat now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they are different.
I don't like that.
I don't mind it. I think they look cleaner in this image.
Yeah, they've got no border around them, have they?
Yeah, so I think they look okay. I mean, these things change. They can't change.
I presume they'll still be valid. I'll just pop up a picture so people can see what it looks like at home.
Yeah, I think they'll be valid. There seems to be different views, but I think this set will end up being valid for competitive play because Games Workshop want to sell them, so they'll put them available, make them available, and people will take them to tournaments.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I think they'll be valid. I think maybe this is just previewing, because this is not going to be maybe a GW based sales game. It's going to either be whether it's a Barnes and Noble thing or whether it's just one of these games that appears in loads and loads of different shops all over the place, like some of their other stuff.
I'm intrigued by that. I hope it's not exclusive. Particularly hope it's not exclusive to the US.
Yeah, that would really piss me off.
But it's intriguing. They've got the seal of excellence from the Dice Tower, and I don't think have they ever done that before.
No, I don't think I've seen them do that.
So I think that's obviously aimed at people who don't come into Games Workshop shops to buy it. I think because I think if you go into Games Workshop shops regularly, you don't care whether it's endorsed by the Dice Tower. I could be wrong.
I suspect that a large chunk of people who go to GW possibly look down their noses at some YouTube channels or whatever because possibly they might have badmouthed GW in the past and they're like, I don't like them because they don't like GW or whatever.
That explains our low viewership.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, there's somebody said that they zoomed in enough that they could tell that the crossbows were doing 2 damage, which if they're range 3, that's dirty. I mean, that immediately makes them like worth taking over fast riders any day of the week, unless they don't go to 2 shields when inspired. But that would be the first Stormcast warband not to, and that would make them a bit poo.
Well, technically, Armies and Rastus did they?
Oh, that's true. That's true. I forgot about that. I mean, the 2 4-fighter warbands I don't mind. I'm not so fussed about having lots and lots of varied warband sizes these days. I mean, we've seen it all in previous seasons. We've had 3-fighter and 9-fighter and all the rest of it. And sometimes it's nice to get a bit of variety in there. But we are getting some variety in this season because although most of the warbands so far in season 4 are 4-fighter warbands, I wonder if that's a deliberate ploy.
Well, I think it's a design decision to make the game more balanced, I think. But I don't really know much about game design, so I could be talking out my arse.
That's
what
we do.
I want to make a good balanced game. It's probably easier to make the warbands more similar.
Yeah.
You have less chance of swingy situations as we have with both Grimwatch and Moloch, for example.
VJ Morphus pointed out the Dice Tower deal thing was on Blitzball Season 2 as well, which could point to it being a Barnes and Noble thing. Gavin Scott has pointed out, though, that the person who... Sorry, go on. I was just going to say, Gavin Scott's pointed out the person who reviewed Underworlds for Dice Tower has left and the other 2 don't really play it, so that doesn't bode well.
No. So do they do repeat plays on the Dice Tower? I thought they just kind of reviewed stuff and then moved on. But I don't watch it, so I don't know.
No, watching YouTube's one of those things we don't really ever have the time for.
No, but also I find the bits of Darkling I did watch, I found it a bit grating, and my time at Geek Dad, I've heard some behind the scenes stuff, which made me think I don't want to watch.
Juicy.
Yeah.
They're all raging homophobes.
No. No, let's not make stuff up.
But that's the fun part about the internet. It just makes stuff.
No. Not a public forum.
No, I hasten to add, they're not all raging homophobes or anything like that. Definitely, they're all raging homophones. No, wait, what? No, there's nothing wrong with them. Nothing public anyway. We're certainly not starting any rumours here, or are we?
Because we'll get crushed.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we'll become a footnote in the pages of no one gave a shit.
Yeah.
So there's the Storm of Celestus, which are the Stormcast ones, and then there's Dreepers Wraith Creepers, which I don't know if they intended to do that, but it just rhymes really well. Dreepers Wraith Creepers. Dreepers Creepers. I'm not really sure though. But
why don't they just get rid of the Wraith and just call them Dreepers Creepers?
Well, if we ever play them, that's what they're getting called on the channel from now on.
Absolutely, 100% of the time.
But from what I remember, those things are meant to have like horses' heads, so surely all the cards are just going to have varying horse noises instead of any text. Yes, VJ Morph, I am glad that some people out there watch YouTube, even though I don't have the time to, or else why the fuck would we be doing this?
Yeah. I mean, I have always found anything I've done is that there's time to either make content or watch it, and I don't have time to do both. It's very hard to do both. Try and watch some YouTube videos and read blogs and things, but finding the time is really tricky. Reading's a bit easier.
Jason Newell says that 3-minute board games gave Blitzbowl a big endorsement, which is weird as he's based in New Zealand where the game's not available for purchase, but we got sent a copy of Blitzbowl #1 and we're in the UK and it's not available.
Yeah, ever since.
And we gave it a fairly good endorsement, which doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things.
Coincided with my gallstones though, so we didn't give it a really good crack of the whip.
Crap of the whip.
Or crack of the wick.
But it does say in the text that they are going to be compatible with the Underworlds game in general, because it says experienced players will also want to get their hands on the 2 new warbands to pit against the Underworld's other denizens, such as Kagra's Ravagers. So they are. Yeah,
I still think it's going to be fully compatible, they may, if it is Barnes and Noble exclusive, they'll end up doing a
Champions of whatever
they did.
Well, they call it Champions of Dreadfane, and this board game's just called Underworlds. So I don't know what they call it, just Champions of Underworlds or something like that.
Yeah, I guess so. Or they could just call it Jeepers Creepers.
Andrew Meyer says that he finds listening to YouTube videos when doing chores makes chores not boring. The problem I have with that is that invariably whatever's happening in it, I then want to see what just happened when they talk about something. So I look back at it. I guess podcasts are better for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I do watch a bit of Netflix or something with the subtitles on, so I don't have to really listen. I can just sort of flip my eyes up every now and again. It's kind of that seems to work. But YouTube, I haven't really settled down to. Like if a game one, I want to watch how the game's going, and then other ones I don't watch much else.
Ed's pointed out that this does have the same factions as the previous game. It's got Stormcast and Nighthorns again, but they're kind of GW's like brand boys.
They're the AOS poster boys. They're the starter, the original starter set of AOS. I don't know if it's still available, but that's Stormcast and Ghosts, isn't it?
Yeah. And Ildefonso Lazor has pointed out he wonders if it will make the Shade Spire boards legal again for tournaments.
Well, I think it will,
yeah.
But people disagree with me on that. But I think it will, unless that's a single fused board.
It's
not.
But it's not a fused board. It's definitely 2 separate boards. I think they just had a load of extra stock they wanted to get rid of, and I think it will make them legal again. So I think some people were a bit moany and a bit pissy about the fact that they'd lost out loads of they'd lost these boards and they couldn't play them competitively anymore and stuff like that. So I think this was possibly a way that GW knew they would just get them back into the rotation again.
people pissy and moany
I know.
about games. Seems
Who'd have
unlike. I'm sure you've made that up.
Yeah, no one ever does that ever about anything.
Yep. Speaking of which, are we going to talk about Curse City, or have we got anything else to say about this new standalone game?
I don't really have anything else to add to it right now. I mean, I'm interested to see if the new artwork comes into Season 5, because I presume they'd have to get this done around about the same sort of design space as Season 5 is being mooted.
I would think it probably does. Actually, you touched on something really important there, though, Pete. It is a really good... sorry, I lost words. It's a really good sign for Season 5. I know there's been some speculation about would the game be finished at Season 4. I would be surprised if they bother with a starter set for a game that they weren't going to carry on doing games for. So I would hope that it means Season 5 and Season 6 are in the pipeline on their way.
Yep, that is a very good point. So that does give us some definite sort of hope for future seasons. But overall, there's not masses to talk about here. I hope that the warbands and their cards are a bit simpler in this version of the starter set, because the ones they had in...
They've got a lot of text.
Sorry?
They've got a lot of text looking in that picture. That right-hand end Stormcast has got an essay in their box.
That's
so
true.
I'm not sure they are. I'm not sure they are.
That might just be because it's more explicit text.
Wait!
This fucking fighter can fucking roll 3 fucking dice when some cunt gets in his face.
Text. I think I should go now.
Mr. Morph wonders if this...
about my one Underworlds starter set is filth.
just disgusting filth. The wife wouldn't give it back to me for hours.
Alex Dodds has pointed out it could be flavour text. Well, I guess if it's explicit flavour text.
Not sure.
Adds to the theory.
Not sure I will know what flavour that is. VJ says, if this mean that this starter set will be counted in terms of season card rotation? I suspect if and when it comes out, it will be counted as part of the Chasm rotation, because I'm assuming it'll be coming out like July time.
Well, there aren't any universals, are there? So it doesn't matter. They're all factions.
That is true.
It doesn't matter what season it's in, actually.
Yeah, that is true. But I'm guessing it'll get lumped in with the Chasm stuff.
Jason said that. Alex has pointed out that the wall of text could be flavour text, which is a very good point. And somebody else pointed out that it is, of course, pretty much the same as the starter set for 40k and AOS, because it's effectively Stormcast versus ghosts.
Yeah,
marines,
undeady things.
So yes,
I want somebody at some point to address the elephant in the room of why does no board game ever get close to its projected time to play estimate on the box.
Because we're playing.
But that's just 30 minutes, and that's a starter game. There's no way in hell somebody's gonna, as a starter, be able to play that in 30 minutes. You only can really play that kind of game in 30 minutes once you get to a level where you know what you're doing, and you're playing like, you know, like a proper tournamenty kind of game where, you know, you're aware of your deck, you're aware of what you're doing, you're just banging out each maneuver as you go along and reacting to your opponent in a tournament sort of setting. Nobody, if you're not playing like that, you're just playing a regular sort of sit down, have a laugh game. That's not ever 30 minutes in anyone's money whatsoever.
Wolfman Gaz says that's the minimum time, and then he says for a round.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, 30 minutes. If you absolutely, like you say, Pete, if you absolutely know what you're doing, 30 minutes you will get game done. But when you're learning, you'll be like, this is taking me hours.
Yeah, and there needs to be two numbers on those things. There needs to be like first game time, and then like 50th game time, something like that. So it's like, you know, this game will take you 2 hours to play the first time you sit down and play it. In about 50 games, it might take you about 45 minutes.
Yeah. But how much conversation you have. There could be a whole sliding scale, couldn't there? What sort of conversationalist are you? Do you have to sing every card name that involves a name that you can sing to?
And if not,
a lot longer. We called it Reapers Creepers. This is when I had 10 minutes to game time.
And frankly, if you don't, then why are you playing the game wrong?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's all the faction, all the cards are faction only. Like not Chasm, Dreadfane. God, they're gonna have to do something with these release names soon because they're just getting a bit much. Doom something, or whatever. So yeah, let's move on. Let's see if anyone's got any questions they want to ask about it. In which case, chuck them out in the comments and we'll go over them, have a quick look. But Lizard Queen says fastest game they've had has been 40ish minutes. I think the fastest game we've played is maybe around 30 to 40 minutes when one of us has been absolutely
We've
done
squeezed
over.
it down to 25 minutes before when somebody's been hammered. But I mean, I've managed to get 3 games in a Grand Clash in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So I tended to lose 2 games. But
yeah, I mean, I played. I think I only had one match go to 3 games in 90 minutes, and the third game was really nail biting. It would be because it's a best of 3. If you're onto the third game, it's more nail biting anyway. But it came down to like the last couple of glory, and it was one of the best games I've ever played. And it was Despoilers versus Despoilers, one of the best games I've played at a tournament setting like that. And we did just about get in the 3 games in the 90 minutes, so you can just about do it. But I mean,
I did it. I can't remember what circumstances, but I know that we only went to it because I managed to win the game by standing on an objective. So it was an accident. So I won. So it went to 1-1.
You didn't sort of look at the clock and then go, "What's that over there?" Move the model off. Oh, you've won. Yeah, I mean, you can just about get 3 games in 90 minutes if you know what you're doing. You pound it out like that, and you're already there. You've already got everything in front of you. You've already got your cards, your dice, the boards. But when you've got to then take stuff out and all that kind of thing, it's never 30 minutes. In anybody's money, it's never 30 minutes.
No.
So let's have a look at Cursed City.
Oh, now are these some of Andrew Marlowe said beat one of the best games I've ever played. Robin stares at Pete. Yeah, it's a bit harsh. I hadn't thought about that, Andrew. Good point.
Robin's like, "What the fuck am I? Just sitting here, some kind of arsehole. Do I mean nothing to you?"
Familiarity breeds contempt. That's what I'm going to say.
Yep.
Arsehole.
The number of times I've had to cut out of our videos when I said, "Can you do this?" and you've just gone, "No, fuck off." If it does anything I ask.
Cursed City.
Cursed City. Or
You know, I haven't looked at the box art at all at any point.
I quite like the box art.
Skimmed over it. It's amazing. It's not very GWE.
No, it's not. It's kind of it feels really different, but I really like that kind of red and black horror vibe they've gone for.
Kind of, I suppose to me it does kind of go back to that kind of more grimdarky old world thing.
I mean, some of the models.
The original library novels had artwork not dissimilar to that. They might have been Ian Miller. It's not spiky, but it's got a bit of an Ian Miller film to it. Is that Robin looming in the background? Could be.
Looking disapproving.
Could be.
Yeah, he's not got a jumper on. Can't be you. I mean, then there's a little preview of what the boards look like and what it all looks like laid out, and it looks pretty much like your classic Warhammer Quest. Well, I say classic, not classic. Classic's the wrong word, but your standard fare for Warhammer Quest as it stands now, with your 4 activation dice and your.
You missed an opportunity to do your.
It's your basic game with your 4 activation dice. You've got your characters here and your board sizes. You've got some models. It's your basic game,
right.
really.
Does that voice all day? It just tickled me.
Tickles your fancy. Did I get that right?
It looks a bit like badly imitating Blanche. Yeah, I can see that, VJ. The what you mean? I have reservations about this game. Blackstone Fortress looked amazing, but was a bit pedestrian in the end.
It got a bit samey, didn't it?
And I'm a little bit. Well, I suppose all the Quest games are a little bit samey, and I suspect I will probably find that about most games that are procedurally generated, because they by definition have to have sort of an element of mechanics to them, mechanical element to them. And so I look at this and I think, well, it looks amazing. The figures are incredible. I'm a little bit worried that the game itself won't be that exciting, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, it does look... The character cards look more Warhammer Quest than Blackstone Fortress. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I don't know. Some of the character cards seem to have some kind of extra card. So maybe there's a way of getting extra weapon or equipment, stuff like that.
There's a slot for a dice or something on the beneath the stat dial. So it looks like something. Yeah, I did see what it was. Somebody's blown it up. I can't remember what it says now off the top of my head. But yeah, Andrew made a really good point, which is he loves game previews. Every room filled with monsters and heroes, completely surrounded. How it really plays, one room at a time with all the heroes together.
Yeah,
that's absolutely right.
That is in a nutshell.
There seems to be a night and day theme going on. Some of the villain cards have got different stats when it's night and day, which is interesting. And that dial there with the dice on seems to have sort of nighttime and daytime, and the sun getting bigger maybe or smaller. I'm not sure. Yeah, or both.
It's like half bluish and half yellow. So. Yeah.
And are those things on the inside? Are they the? No, just numbers. You made it bigger and it's suddenly focused. They're just numbers around the outside. It'll be interesting to see what that is. I guess it might be a countdown type thing.
Could be. I mean, maybe you have to go through part of it, and you can choose when you start your adventure. Maybe you can start in the daytime, but then you're on a race to get somewhere before night falls, or maybe you decide to head out in night and contend with the problems in the hope that the sun will rise before you get to the big bad guy at the end.
Yeah. So I'm like most GW games, I'm cautiously optimistic. I want it to be great. I think it's going to look great. I'm worried that the mechanics will let it down. But I find, I don't know if anybody's in the group, on Facebook, the Curse City Facebook group, I joined it. The negativity in there about the game is untrue. It's like, if you don't want to play it, don't go in there. Don't mention how it's going to be boring and it's too expensive and all that kind of stuff.
Don't walk in the shop. Just walk past the door. Don't go in.
I think nobody plays Games Workshop games exclusively for their game design, but nobody does. So it's an exchange. I think Underworlds, the game we mostly love, is the best the best game design they've done for a long time. This game I think will be fun, but I don't think it's going to be challenging really. There's a lot of info about it on Blackjack's live show yesterday regarding the mechanics.
There we go.
The negativity on the internet is bad, but I know that, BJ. I know I'm not saying anything new. It just seems. Well, I mean, we do know that the part of the enjoyment of the Games Workshop hobby is slating Games Workshop. That's what Jason's just said.
Yeah, I mean, it's odd. I've not been in that space for a long time with GW. If I see something I don't like, it's mostly I appreciate that what I don't like is just a personal preference. So I say, oh well, that's not for me. I'm just going to move on. I don't know what point people get to that stage in their lives, but the internet seems to be full of a lot of people who aren't at that stage yet and take everything that GW does as a personal slight to them. You just think, dude, it's just a game. If it pisses you off that much, like you say, just don't look at it. Don't buy it. Don't go near it.
I think the Curse City group is bad. You see the Warhammer Old Worlds group. Yeah, I'm not in that one.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter what GW do with Warhammer Old Worlds. People will rip that to shreds and then go out and buy fucking tons of it. And
then moan about it even worse. Moan about it even more. Yeah. Gavin makes a good point. He says it doesn't come out of the game because he's not interested in most dungeon crawlers. I think they're saying. I think the clue's in the name, isn't it? Dungeon crawl. I mean, I know pub crawls are slightly more interesting, but eventually dungeon crawl is just, it's like when people talk about grinding out games. It's inherently, therefore, boring.
Yeah.
Gavin's off to bed. We've worn him out with our talk of crawling.
Good night, Gavin. I definitely find, even in proper role-playing games, sitting around a table, I find dungeon crawlers very dull after a short period of time. Because they just seem very unrealistic to me most of the time. especially, and this has always been a pet peeve of mine, especially when you're in the middle of a dungeon and everybody's nearly dead because someone fucked up with some kind of poison trap or some shit like that, where everyone rolled bollocks in the last encounter and everybody got the shit beaten out of them. And then everybody goes, what should we do in the middle of this dark, dank dungeon where there's monsters crawling? Let's have a nap. Let's have a nap. We'll be fine. Let's have a nap. A couple of hours, have a meal, something nice to eat, read a book or two, and then we'll go and we'll keep going. And like in the next room, there's a fucking Minotaur sitting there or something. And the Minotaur's like, "You're snoring, mate. You need to get that fucking sorted out. But first, I'm going to club your skull in." It just doesn't. It's too far for me.
Yeah, dungeon crawls and RPG experience are probably the most boring, as Jason says. Yes, you kind of need to have sort of interesting dungeon.
Yeah, you need that element of time. Something's got to be keeping you moving the whole time, but then that means the dungeon has to be balanced enough that it's not going to wipe you all out in the first trap.
Darkest dungeon in a nutshell. Milky says he doesn't know if he'll ever get a game in, but you can bet on painting the models, and I think that is a massive draw for this game because
these models are fantastic.
Yeah, they are just. They're great. I really love the. I like the ogre guy. I like all of them. They're just all the models are great. Some better than others, but they're just the painting possibility. I mean, it will take me forever to paint them.
I mean, the Witch Hunter. I love the fact
the heroes are at least as good as the Blackstone Fortress.
I didn't notice that the Witch Hunter hero, he's got a rifle that has like a stake launcher underneath it. It's got a rifle and a stake launcher underneath it. I mean, if that isn't just the best fucking thing in the world, I don't know what is. I mean, it's got this dwarf. I'm going to ignore him. He doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned. Looks bloody stupid with the harpoon gun. But other than him, all the other heroes are great.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking the same. I didn't really want to slag off the dwarf because I seem to always do it. But yeah, I don't know.
You don't want to be heightist.
Yeah, that said, in Soulbound, they're really cool. So maybe I'm just being maybe it's just the sculpting. In Soulbound, they're quite. I found them interesting. I've always liked an elf archer, so I do like the.
Elf archer's not bad. I do love this sort of lord with the pistol and his great big saber.
He's kind of a cross between an old Warhammer Advanced Hero Quest character and what's his name from Blackstone Fortress, isn't he? Darius Jarek, or whatever he was called.
He is very much like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude with the stake launcher is called Sirloin. Very good, Milky. Very good. The weird spooky caster guy, I'm not 100% sure with his massive long beard, but
quite interesting. I think that's an interesting character choice.
Yeah, it's not the most obviously heroic character, but I love the fact he's got all these books, and he's definitely got that more
mask. You should probably at least put it over your nose. What I'm going to say.
I mean, fucking hell, man! Just come on. You make one job you got to get right.
Books though, I like that.
And I do like the general gritty, grimy Warhammer Fantasy roleplay kind of feel of that character.
I'm not sure about the priestess type lady.
Yeah, she's a bit weird. The thing on her back, I think, is the weirdest part about her, but the rest is
things hanging down at the back and what have you. I'm not sure about those.
Yeah. Plus, you can't see where the fuck she's going. She's got a thing over her eyes.
Yeah. She's got the twin comet. Is that twin comet of Sigmar? That's quite cool.
And then there's obviously the ogre, which, you know, he's not over. He's big. He's a big chonker model, but he's not ridiculously big. And I do like that model. I don't think it's a bad model at all. Very much reminds me of the old ogre models with the punch dagger and the round mace. In fact, there was the old fashioned ones that had the single pose sort of thing, holding a mace and having a punch glove sort of held up. Definitely reminds me of that.
Yeah.
So that's all the heroes, and then we get onto the monster, the Gribblies, which are also just lovely as well. Even like the basics, like the bat things here, I really like them.
Yeah, the bats are cool. And the rats, Pete. What are the rats? How do you feel about the rats?
I love them. Love them rats. I can definitely see Skaven players taking those to use as Skaven swarms and stuff like rat swarms and stuff, because they just look fantastic.
Is that to be more Skaven in the game?
I'm a bit disappointed about it, but I guess they couldn't in this one.
A really nice tie back into the old Advanced Hero Quest, and would have given another dimension to the city, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you never know.
An expansion.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it follows the BSF sort of approach, then there'll be loads.
I'm pretty sure it will, and if the game's half decent, and the model's this good, I can see myself getting in on all of those expansions.
Someone to point out, these things look like zombie Santas, which they really do, but those axes look chonky and quite impressive. And
like a zombie Santa.
I'm not sure what they're meant to be. I mean, they're not orcs, are they? But I'm not sure what they're meant to be. They're like...
Are they ogre-y or not? They're not really, are they?
I think they're massively ogre-y. But they look cool. Then we then got the skeletons in their boy band pose, which, even with the slightly stupid looking boy band pose, these are still fantastic models.
I'm not sure about the... I do like the one with the banner, but I'm not quite sure about the poses on these skeletons.
I still like the sort of the janky sort of kind of skeleton staggering sort of approach.
Those people are moaning, says, are people who want to reboot in more time. They keep getting their hopes up first with Warcry, then with this. I never thought this was going to be like Warheim. This was obviously going to be like Blackstone Fortress and Warhammer Quest. I don't think Games Workshop will make a game like Wartime again, because I think people are making their own Wartime stuff, and Games Workshop are happy with that, and they can, people they don't make strong rules, do they? So I think that all that background of stuff to make into a game is too much like hard work for them.
I think Necromunda was maybe the last thing they've done, and that's much more IPable. Nobody else has done that kind of approach to it before, or that kind of idea. Well, no, that's a lie, actually.
I'm not thinking Necromunda, but there's not loads of... I mean, there's a little bit of character progression, but it's not huge, is it? Whereas Mortime, as far as I've never played Mortime, I don't know, but it is almost like... Well, it seems to be more of a narrative thing, and that's a lot of effort to make a good narrative game, which I think Games Workshop would rather put that effort into making models.
Yeah, it was sort of, but it wasn't much different to like a fancy version of Necromunda.
Okay, well, I haven't played it, so
but yeah, there's still plenty of Wartime stuff around. You could just play with the old Wartime rules. I mean, there's not, if you want Wartime, play Wartime. Yeah. There's still plenty of there's loads and loads of new sexy models out there that you could just pick up and play old version of Wartime with.
Getting the Wartime rules might be a tricky thing, which I do sometimes wonder about that. I mean, Games Workshop could, even if they just basically remade Wartime with the original rules,
just repackage
it, and make some new models for it and make a mint. It's kind of why I was also to Pete the other day about what made me think of it. I think it was the new High Elves. The new High Elves just had a more classic old Warhammer look to them. So they'd obviously used to influence how they design the figures. And I was thinking they could make such a really great Bretonnian influenced army for AOS, and call it something else, IP it all, but make it obviously have its roots in that kind of age of chivalry and knights and stuff.
Yeah.
People will buy it by the bucket load. So although they kind of don't seem to be inclined to do so, I'm kind of surprised that they haven't, because I think they would make money from it.
It's probably on the back burner for when they've done all this stuff and nobody buys it, or everyone buys it and then doesn't like it because it's not Wartime. And then they go, and now here's Wartime.
There is apparently a living rulebook for free online for Wartime. There we go, Pete. There's something else we could do.
Oh God, not another thing.
We haven't got very many games to play.
No, we haven't got many at all. Then you got these sort of...
Not Bretonnian influenced.
I do like the zombies. They're sort of like crawling out. They've got like gates stuck on them and bits of fence and stuff like that. Roots growing out of them.
I like the one with their own graveyard on it.
Yeah, it's quite cool. That I like them. The models are just look fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's it. So those are the mini Griblies, and then we go on to the big ones. So this is the Radikar the Wolf, not Radikar the Brown. Just try and get him a bit better into shot there.
We're going to be the new Mordheim now. I wouldn't imagine doing in Mordheim the amount of grief we probably get for getting all the rules wrong.
We then got, I can't remember his name, but I really did like that model. He has a cat. He has a rat. He has a crow and a bat.
I like him. Apart from again, this fixation with wooden things on the back. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, because one of the new spooky models that they showed off has like a great big Y-shaped thing on its back, doesn't it? Like, what have you guys got about carrying things around on the back? Because
I mean, they can add extra detail, but it just, I don't know. I do like the bird, but there's just something about it. It's just a bit annoying.
yeah, I agree. It's a bit weird. I do love the whole grim dark feel of it though.
Died in the stock, possibly Pete, Ed. Possibly. I mean, I think maybe I'm being overcritical. I just don't like it. I just think the model itself without that would be awesome.
And there's this Vargolf thing, which is quite an impressive model.
Flambe Raven is all the rage.
This Vargolf what's it is pretty impressive. The half bat, half
kind of clawy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an impressive model.
They made to take a picture of it though, where the rat is facing dead onto the camera, so it's just got the tail just going dead straight up in the air.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like someone's just scared the shit out of it. It's just gone.
Probably has. He's probably just realised what's standing behind him.
It's good to see he's got a tactical stone there, some tactical masonry to carry around with him.
Yep. If I stand really still, maybe he won't notice I'm here. That's what the rat is thinking.
See, it's funny because I was saying earlier about some models some people love and other people hate. I love that model, and VJ's just said that he thinks that model is ugly as fuck. So, and Wolfman Gaz says he loves the Vargolf as well. So, that's just the good thing about this game.
He is ugly, but then that's sort of the point, isn't it? But maybe that's not what VJ means. He's the mini he's least interested in from the game. It's obviously not what he means. No, I think it's a good mini. I like that one. Alternative votes. Agent Sigmar, what are your hopes and predictions for the silent ones mentioned in the lore section of the Chasm rulebook?
Well, first off, thank you for asking the question to Alternative Oats. That's a nice little teasy question for us to answer rather.
I don't know. I almost feel like they'll be just never quite filled out, and they'll just be there, kind of in the background.
The problem is the minute they do something with them, they've defined them. And we've said this before, whenever something's being teased in trailers and stuff like that, and silhouettes, it's like it could be one of a million things. But the minute you then go, it's this thing, everyone goes, oh, that's none of my theories. I hate it. So I in some ways, I'd quite like to see a Silent Ones warband of some kind, but at the same time, it might just be better to be one of those little footnotes in the lore that always has you asking, I wonder what that was about type thing.
Maybe it's just a coded message from GW to get us to shut up.
Are there any other models in there? Oh yeah, there's the dude with the great big hook hand and a shovel. Now, I mean, he's a bit buggered, isn't he? He's not going to be able to use that shovel properly because he's only got one hand. The other one's a hook. No, I can't use this shovel properly.
That's why he's so annoyed.
I'm really annoyed. I got this really nice shovel and I can't bloody use it.
It's not a very practical length shovel, actually. Just generally.
No, true. Now these models win the competition for most ridiculous base scenery, I think. The Trooper is off. Good night, the Trooper. Thank you for tuning in and joining, taking part. These models, I can't work out. I think I hate them, but I think I hate them because they're just wherever they go, there seems to be some masonry for them to hang off of. Stupid, sexy vampire goats.
Oh, these guys. They're kind of interesting. I kind of like them.
I like what the model is. This kind of weird vampire thing going on, but at the same time, why are they always hanging off of bits of bloody masonry?
Everything.
I mean, they're both on bits of masonry. I think it's because
way to go.
Yeah, I think it's because the models themselves, if they were just on the base, they wouldn't be particularly impressive.
No.
And therefore they wouldn't, you wouldn't see that model on the board and think, oh, that's going to be a tough one because it's a big model. You would just think, well, that looks quite small, so it's going to be shit, and then it wrecks your face. So they've got to put that masonry on there to big the model up, but to me it just looks a bit eh. Oh, Andrew Marlowe's trying to get the crown. The pillars in the local community.
Oh goodness me!
The
We've
one
been there,
that,
mate.
oh, the last one, it has the least amount of tactical masonry on its base and is the most dynamically posed, I think. But
Yeah.
it's like, yeah. Alternative Vote says they remind him of hyenas, also just shoving more plastic into the set to round the price up. I mean, maybe that's part of it.
Tactical rocks are a funny thing. I think I mean, you get some more dynamic poses out of them, but I think the problem is it's because they're stuck like that forever. It just feels really forced. I have that with some of the Marvel Crisis Protocol models. They just look daft, just standing perpetually on a piece of rock.
Yeah.
Especially more often than not. I mean, here at least, you've kind of got a reason for these bits of rock to exist. Often in the Marvel Crisis Protocol, there doesn't seem to be any reason why they're there. It just happen to be there, and he happens to be standing on them.
Yeah, it's like a bit of like iron, a piece of something masonry or something. Sorry,
we haven't really thought about the mechanics in depth of this game, but I don't think Blackstone Fortress had objectives for objective marks. So that
no, not the same way.
Suggests some interesting new type of game mechanic for Warhammer Quest, which is positive.
It's got some very similar sort of dice. It's got some D12s, it's got D8s and D10s and stuff like that in there.
Same as Blackstone Fortress. I don't remember if there was an actual D12 in Blackstone Fortress. There probably was.
I think there was, yeah, and I think there was a D20 as well in the other promo shot further up that we saw.
Yeah, okay, but there was in Blackstone Fortress a D20 as well, wasn't there?
And there's a secret envelope as well. I do like the objective markers themselves; just look quite cool as well.
Yeah, I think they're really good. They could be, somebody just said, they could be really good scatter terrain or just objectives for your AOS games.
Yeah, that's true. I think the tiles look quite nice and varied as well, as Alex Dodge just pointed out as well. They've got some really nice looks on some of them. So
they're proper old school dungeon tiles.
The black and white tiled floor, all that kind of stuff. So overall, I'm interested to see what this is like. There's a book there as well. It's by C.L. Werner. You're going to read that one, Robin?
Sorry?
They've got a book coming out as well by C.L. Werner. You're going to watch it?
Yeah, you know what? I was almost tempted to buy that and read it.
Just to see. I mean, it's interesting that the dude on the cover of the book doesn't have a mask on his face and has a big scythe, whereas in the hero in the actual game himself has that mask on and doesn't have a scythe at all.
That picture of the guy with the scythe is awful. I think really bad. It looks like a comedy character. It's just wandered in off a Terry Pratchett from a Terry Pratchett book.
It does look a bit Pratchett-esque, doesn't it? So, I mean, overall, let's turn that off now. Get rid of that view. And we're back. Hello. Overall, I'm looking forward to seeing what Curse City is going to be like. Yes,
I'm just hoping that we can meet by the time it arrives. I feel like with all this previewing and everything, arrival is actually pretty imminent. So I fear that it may be out before we can meet, sadly.
Possibly. Depends. I mean, it depends largely on how much the cretins in this country can actually follow rules and stuff to stop us having to go into.
Well, yeah, but even if it goes to plan, I mean, is it May the 17th? We said, so that's 2 months away. I mean, I reckon this could be out on pre-order in a couple of weeks' time.
You reckon?
2-week lead, so I reckon it could be with us in a month. Yeah.
I might be wrong.
I just feel like they've
kind of shown everything, haven't they?
Excuse the expression, they'd have blown their load too early. Doing this big kind of preview so far in advance.
Yeah, possibly. It's certainly a lot. I can't remember when Blackstone Fortress came out, but it is a lot of information to throw out that early for a summer release.
Yeah. So I think it will be out before May. Well, not before May, but I reckon May the 17th. I reckon it'll be around in and around then at the earliest. Sorry, at the latest. But we'll have to wait and see, I guess. But it would be a shame for it to come out in sort of April, beginning of April, and then we have 6 weeks before we can actually play it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it gives us plenty of time to get everything painted up, right?
Sorry?
It gives us plenty of time to get everything painted.
Yeah, I'd love to paint them, but yes, if we're going to play with them all painted, we won't be playing until next March, this March. To go around and
yeah, that's
break
true.
into, he's not on tonight, or he's not been on for a while. I have to break into John Grant's house and steal his.
John was online earlier.
Yeah, I know, but he's not been around for a while. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's just watching. Maybe he's making sure his house is secure.
Could be, yeah. He's checking all of his Pete and Robin traps.
Crazy industry that revolves around in-person interactions has thrived so well during a period of restricted socialising. I better not see any bare plastic come 21st of June. Well, I think that's it. I think to a degree it shows that actually for a lot of people, the games, or not, I wouldn't say they were secondary, but they're certainly parallel to the importance of actually building and painting and that kind of hobby side of it.
I was going to say the main aspect of this hobby is buying stuff, leaving it in the box, and complaining about releases. That's the main thing of this hobby's all about.
Yeah.
And I know that it's a joke about not seeing any bare plastic come the 21st June. I mean, we may be in lockdown. I've not had any spare time to paint. Just none.
I have painted, but much like my sort of book buying, it's much easier to buy the stuff than it is to read or paint them. So I do still have bare plastic. Although actually, I reckon what's come in over the lockdown period, I've probably mostly painted. I've just still got quite a lot of old stuff left to paint.
I'd love to try and paint some of the Underworlds warbands coming out. I've got Kagra's Reavers sitting on the shelf. I haven't even started to get it. I haven't even taken them out of the box yet, let alone stuck them together yet. I've got Morgok sitting down on the shelf behind me. I've got the Worm Spout I'd still like to paint, and I've got two Blitz Bowl teams that I started painting a while ago. And I don't know if you can make that out there. I started painting some Blitz Bowl teams.
You know why? It's because you bought a dog.
Yeah, the Doge. Well,
does that dog keep you warm at night? Oh, hang on. Does it give you joy? Oh, hang on.
Do you get a sense of fulfillment for fuck's sakes? Damn it! Why haven't I got a dog? That's not helped. I'll admit that's not helped. I think even without that though, I would have been struggling to find time. I haven't got a dedicated painting space anywhere. It's my desk that I also do my work on. And one of the good things about all this lockdown is I've been able to work from home, and I'll be working from home a lot more come the future, which is good. Less travel and all that nonsense. But at the same time, it means that my hobby space isn't so much my hobby space anymore. It's more my office space.
So alternative voters, we thought about doing painting streams on Twitch, 2 birds with 1 stone possibly. We've talked about it. I'm not sure. Certainly, I don't feel my own painting competence is anywhere near good enough. I guess we could do like a hobby stream where everybody paint at once, I suppose. But I don't know. I'm not really geared up for that. Where I paint the, I don't know. It'd be difficult to get a camera and what have you set up there to stream.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably just about move some cameras and some stuff around to have a space where people would be able to see what I was working on and do that kind of hobby stream thing. But then we'd have to pick, do we do that or do we do our Tuesday night live chats and stuff like that? Maybe if when we're getting to a week where we haven't got very much to discuss on a Tuesday night live, we break out, we give that a try perhaps.
But just as Andy does painting streams and he's not an amazing painter, maybe it's something we can consider. I mean, maybe we'll do a poll or something. It's more about hang out and talk shit. Yeah, maybe that's it. Although I suspect, like when we have the streams where we're playing the games, I can't concentrate on 2 things at once. I can't concentrate on the game and the chat. I suspect I'd be exactly the same with the painting and Twitch. I'd be like, everybody would be chatting away,
asking questions.
And I'd be like, I'm painting. I can't do both.
Be 45 minutes of silence as you just see these hands trying to paint something, and then after like 45 minutes we go, anyway, goodbye, see you later.
Yeah.
Or you just forget you're streaming completely and just put stuff down, wash the brush, and walk off.
We did do I did once with the patrons. We did a hangout, and I did some painting, and that was quite nice. I did enjoy that. So maybe it's something we could consider doing.
It becomes one of those things again, doesn't it? Of when do you do it? We would have to sacrifice like a Tuesday night live, I think, to do that. It would have to be on a Tuesday night live. We'd have to do the painting instead. But maybe we should
try it. See how it goes. I might be able to squeeze one in a weekend, maybe one day or something. Well, we'll talk about it offline and come back to you. I mean, just have a quick straw poll. Who would be interested in such a thing?
Yep, if you're watching this after the fact, give us a thumbs up, something, or shout in the channel. Would anyone interested in a sit and hang out and paint type of fair?
No. There we go.
I was going to say it's pretty dead, so I'll take that as a no.
Okay. Right, well, I'm going.
So let us know in the comments. Give us a shout out. Would you give a crap about that kind of thing or not? Although to be fair, there's nothing stopping people doing that now. To be honest, people can paint right now whilst we're talking. It doesn't really matter what we're doing. So thank you all for tuning in tonight.
I've got to say for 6 chances only, but luckily Ed and Milky have come through. It's good.
So it's time for us to say goodnight. Sorry?
We could do onboard your jogging camera for video or something.
Craig says people should just send their models to him instead and he'd paint them. He's got 2 kits painted up on this stream. Oh, there you go.
There we go.
2? Holy crap, how have you managed that? It'd certainly be interesting to see, but everything I've read of when people have said they've done like a painting stream, they said it's more stressful than just sitting there painting. So obviously they've then got to monitor the stream and keep an eye on the camera and make sure the feed's fine. And also they've got people then sitting there watching them paint. I would be interested to see if I did it, what people thought of my approach to it, whether people would be sitting there going, you know, why don't you do this instead, or why don't you do that? That might actually be quite useful.
Yeah, I got some feedback. I did a couple of videos, didn't I? I did get some useful feedback on that.
Yeah.
And my painting has got better. I've been painting pretty much daily since October, and it has got better, which is quite nice.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's repetition, as with all things. The more you do it, the faster you get, and the easier it is to do the basics.
I'm getting towards my 10,000 hours or whatever it is you need to master something.
Yeah. The depressing thing is I must have done something near that over the last 20 odd years. I don't know how. I must have racked up a lot of hours, and I still somehow managed to be shit. So I don't know.
10,000 hours is a lot. So I mean, it is. I can't remember. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, quite a few. It's not just a couple. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight and getting involved with the chat. It's always nice to have people online. Do stay safe out there.
Yeah. Cheers everyone.
I mean, by this time next week, we'll see what we've got to talk about next on the warband front on Underworlds, and maybe we'll have a look and think about doing some kind of painting or hobbying stuff on the side.
Maybe Games Workshop drops even more information on us this time next week, so it'd be probably talk about that. They seem to be quite good with the information at the moment, which is quite nice.
It's coming up thick and fast.
It says cheers for the Beast Grade videos, intro videos. So you're very welcome. It's good to have you on board, and thanks to all our regular viewers. Nice to see you all again, and we'll be back next week for more Tuesday Night Live.
Tuesday Night Live.